Hello, welcome back. We are in Westminster tonight where we are waiting for the long-awaited vote on the Prime Minister's Rwanda bill that now we expect to pass its third reading later on. The rebellion from Conservative MPs appears to be somewhat melting away. Well, we can speak now to the Conservative MP Matt Warman, who is a member of the One Nation group of Conservative MPs. Thank you so much for being with us. Now, before we get to the politics, there is one thing that I did want to ask you about, and it is going to be a bit of a gear change for us, but it's a story that I read today that really I found, it's an unbelievably awful story that happened in your constituency regarding a 2-year-old who was found starved to death. His father had died, I think, of a fatal heart attack. Can you just let us know what the latest is on that and what you think needs to happen now?
Well, this is obviously an extraordinary tragedy. What appears to have happened is that the father who was looking after this 2-year-old had, as you say, a heart attack, and despite social services making multiple attempts to make contact with both the child and the father, that didn't happen. And in the end, when the police gained entry to the property, both the child and the father were found dead. Now, that is an extraordinary thing to have happened in Britain in 2024, and it is really important that the investigation that the social services have themselves started and the police, where they have referred themselves to the Independent Office of Police Conduct, it's really important that those investigations get to the bottom of whether, even in the sort of tragic circumstances that took place regardless of their contact, to see whether something more could have been done and this been avoided in the overall conclusion, which obviously is so tragic.
It's absolutely heartbreaking, as you say. I'm sure you're going to be keeping across those inquiries as well.
Absolutely, and I think what is important is that what the county council has called a rapid review needs to genuinely be rapid, and the police need to get to the bottom of this quickly, because it does seem as though both the police and social services were already involved. They already knew, as I say, both the father and Bronson, and for that to have not successfully secured his safety is clearly a failing on several levels.
It's just absolutely heartbreaking. We're looking at some pictures of the little one as well, and it's just, honestly, it really does break your heart. Thank you so much for talking about that tonight. Matt Warman, MP for Boston and Skegness, where that tragedy took place. It's difficult to talk about anything else after that, but the Rwanda bill is an important policy that is impacting potentially many people as well. How do you think the vote is going to go later?
Well, I think it does appear that the Conservative Party will vote for the Prime Minister's bill that does make really serious inroads into tackling this really important issue of illegal migration. But I do think it's also important to say that there clearly are going to be continuing attempts to change this bill. I think the downside of that is simply that it risks delaying tackling what's a really important issue. So I'd like to see us unite around it and get on with this as quickly as possible, because everyone agrees that it will make a really meaningful difference to this vital issue.
I just can't get my head around what's happened over the last 24 hours. You had these massive rebellions, like really chunky rebellions yesterday and just a few moments ago with the Robert Jenrick. So loads of Conservative MPs saying, we don't like this legislation, we think it's terrible, we think that we want to give the Prime Minister bloody nose. But then they vote for it anyway. So what's the point of all the psychodrama other than just to damage your party?
Well, I think people aren't saying that it is overall terrible. What they're saying is that some people would like to see parts of it change. Now, I would say there are good reasons not to change it, primarily because that might mean that it is much more susceptible to legal challenge, much less likely to work. But I think what you are seeing fundamentally is, regardless of people wanting to see the bill change, they all accept, or almost all accept, that it is significant progress on an issue that matters to constituents up and down the country, and getting on with doing it is certainly a significant bit of progress.
I mean, you've been urging your colleagues to get behind this, to hold their noses if there are parts of it that they don't like. Yesterday, another MP from your wing of the party, the One Nation group, Damien Green, told me all of my colleagues are rational in their own way. Do you think that your colleagues have behaved in a rational way over the last 24 hours?
I think certainly the conclusion is a logical one, and that would certainly be rational behaviour. What people have seen is that ultimately there is a choice here, and that choice is to accept something that they might not think is perfect, but they think makes progress, or to risk ending up with nothing at all. I think that is to say, well, I'd rather have something than nothing, regardless of what you think of it. That is certainly rational behaviour, and I'm glad that that appears to be the path that we're going down as a party, because it is really important, not just that we tackle this, but that we tackle all the other issues that matter hugely, whether that is the economy, whether that is the NHS, all of those things that fill up our inboxes, because immigration is a really important issue, but it's by no means the only one.
I'm just going to ask a question from someone on Twitter, actually. They just tweeted me in the last kind of 20 minutes or so. Can someone please ask how Rwanda can be simultaneously both a safe country and a deterrent? Surely it can't be both.
Well, no, I think it's very obvious that people want to come to Britain. They put themselves through perilous journeys crossing the Channel because they want to come to Britain. If they wanted to go to Rwanda, they would be going to a whole different series of routes. It's obvious that the thought of being sent to Britain and potentially to Rwanda is going to affect the decision-making processes of people who are trying to come to the UK.
And just finally, chances of a flight to Rwanda taking off before the next election. Is it going to happen?
I think it will, and I think this bill makes a crucial difference in doing it, and that is why, ultimately, it is tonight looking like it's going to secure the backing of a very significant majority of the Conservative Party.
OK, thank you very much indeed. Matt Warman there,
Thank you.
who is voting alongside the government on the Rwanda bill later.